In the Cabbage.
Welcome to In the Cabbage. This is crazy.
This is pretty bananas right now that we're actually doing this.
I'm Tommy Swaim, Andrew Whitt. Please subscribe, please listen, please download, like. And just a reminder, keep swinging. Hey yo, welcome to In the Cabbage. This is crazy.
This is pretty bananas right now that we're actually doing this. The look on your face right now is just glowing, beaming. The smile on your face is truly ear to ear right now. But yes, here we are doing this.
This is just wow. It was just a dream, and now it's not. But
it's over 2 years in the making at this point.
Plenty of talking about it, not much doing it.
Right.
Until the wife had to step on me and say, "Here we go." Here we go.
Shout out Madison. Truly. The microphone sounds a little bit. It just feels a little interesting in the hand still. I'm just getting used to this.
Yeah. Everything about this is just. I'm
usually like a 2-man expressive talker, but now I just have to have this thing glued to my mouth. Yeah.
Oh man. So this is In the Cabbage. I'm Tommy Swaim. This is my best friend. My, best man, Andrew Whitt.
What's up, y'all?
So I think basically why we started this was because, one, we do this anyways about 2 to 3 nights a week.
Yeah, I'd say at least. It's one of those things where we kind of just we thought it'd be a fun idea, but just kind of ran with it because it was something that we just were doing anyway. So we might as well just hold this metal thing in front of us.
Yeah, and really hope it maybe helps other people. I think we have a unique perspective on a lot of things, and we want to highlight when it could get tough and how people can get out of it.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit more about if someone were not to be I would say a golf enthusiast, like what In the Cabbage stands for, and like what maybe it kind of means, and we can get like a quick background on how we kind of are basing the show off that.
Right. I think In the Cabbage, in golf terms, means you're in the bad part of the golf course. Mm-hmm. You're not where you should be. You're in the tree line. You're underneath. You're in thick rough. Mm-hmm. It's thick. It's bad. You're in the cabbage.
Totally.
But the best part about being in the cabbage is the hero shots that you get out of them sometimes.
Yeah, you get those like little windows of opportunity where you can truly shine, make some miracles happen and pull off the miracle.
And I think that's one of the best parts of golf is that even though you don't have a shot, there's always a shot. Mm-hmm. Even if the shot's like laying up to the left, safe.
Of course.
And that could even be a better option sometimes than pushing the envelope.
And that can also, kind of encompass a little bit more of what we're talking about. Yes, it's golf, or it's other sports, or it's life, or it's relationship, or bad habits, or whatever we kind of want to talk about, and bring that into the quote unquote kind of the shit, and then maybe looking to progress out of that.
It's a comedy sports podcast. We're going to be talking about all sports, but mainly theming in golf. It's what we are obsessed about. It's where we currently spend the most of our time in our friendship, besides doing our nightly hangouts when we sneak out at
We're
night.
Obsessed with it. Let's go ahead and let's just throw it out there that we live, breathe. We talk about doing golf trips. We talk about doing anytime we get any sort of cash and any sort of wiggle room or no wiggle room, and we're going to make the wiggle room. It's talking about a golf trip, a quick one-night stay over in Palm Springs. You kind of name it. It's something that we love doing, fell in love with not too long ago, actually. I always kind of had an affinity for it.
Oh, for sure. You were definitely the catalyst in our golf obsession. You used to, from what I remember, you were from a young kid in San Diego. You were like...
Yeah, that was pretty bananas. I talk about me peaking as a young boy, but actually it was fun too, because it's okay I'm going to dive into this a little bit. I think it'd be kind of fun. You know how in certain situations when you're younger and you don't fully appreciate what's going on?
Totally.
You're like, oh, I'm playing like football and it's like, hotter than hell.
Right.
And I got the pads on and the helmet, and coach is yelling at me. It's like, yeah, that kind of sucks, but like still you're with the boys. You're playing like football, team sport.
Right.
You're learning how to do that kind of stuff.
You don't realize how cool those moments are until you're not doing it.
Exactly. Until you step out of it.
Right.
And that was a really cool thing. And I think that's when I really knew how much of that I truly enjoyed golf as a sport was when I was going down to San Diego and I would spend a week down there at my aunt and uncle's. And it was a fantastic little situation. Grandma would drop me off at the golf course at like 7:45, 8 in the morning. I'd have like $5 to my name, but I'd just get a hot dog and a soda at lunch, and I would just camp out there all day long by myself, knocking putts around the green, chipping, bunker shots. I mean, talk about an unbelievable facility as like a young kid, but I was doing that when I was like 10 years old. Then I'd go and play 18 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was, by far one of the highlights of every summer that I did that. Super fun.
Right. And I think that's been the main catalyst in our, in our friendship and developing this golf obsession with it. I mean, we met in high school. You were a freshman. I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
I might have hand-eye coordination, but your boy is 2 left feet. No athletic ability besides hand-eye. And you came in.
You got to make a strong case, though, for that hand-eye coordination. It's
coordination.
elite. It's elite to this day.
I was a 3-sport athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. You can definitely, the letters, 3 sports.
That is 3 sports varsity.
That's a loaded up jacket right there. Not a lot of other patches where for league titles or anything like
Nope.
that.
Our teams weren't very good.
We went to Laguna Hills after all,
Yeah, well, our teams weren't very great. But I did play 3 sports. And you were the young gun coming in, insanely athletic. You were dunking in 7th grade?
Yeah, he was 8th grade. It was barely a dunk, but getting up there.
I've never dunked a basketball, and I'm 6'5". I should have at some point been able to dunk the basketball. The most I was able to ever do is grab the rim.
You are 6'5", but you're blessed with those T-Rex arms.
Yeah, short arms, real short arms, man. And I think at first, there were some bumps on my end. I was a little jealous, a little insecure, but we blossomed into an amazing friendship that basically never stopped from volleyball, junior, playing on the JV team. From then on out, we spent, summers together.
Yeah. Hours.
Lived at your parents' house.
I think there was a time where we literally, I don't think that you left my parents' place for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I lived there.
Yeah.
There was a point there where it was just, they'd be like, who's over? And you'd be like, it's obviously Tommy. He hasn't left.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to your parents for being,
The amount of fried rice that we consumed was unbelievable.
Mama Whitt, shout out to that fried rice.
Totally. Just all time, just so elite.
I also think you have an unfair advantage with your digestive system because there was a good...
Here we go.
A good week we stayed with each other during the summer, and we did the same sports. We slept.
We were doing we
were living with each other.
Attached at the hip.
Correct. And there was just happened to be a scale at this volleyball game we were at. Let's see what weight we're at. You were 10 pounds down from your original weight.
I thought it was 3 or 4. 3 or 4 down. 3 or 4 down.
Made a little exaggerated there. 3 to 4 pounds down. And I think I was 5 to 6 heavier.
Yeah. That was the case. Those were the numbers.
The fried rice didn't help.
It was our diet consisted of Sour Patch Kids and fried rice.
Well, I think my diet still consists of that.
It's goated. You can't touch it. You can't touch the stuff.
I don't think it's changed much. But I think from that, love of sports, only crew for us. You're a D1 volleyball player, semi-professional, played overseas.
I think we got to back this story up just before we started getting super into what I had did in college, but wanted to give a little shout out your way because you're going to still get to flex this to this day, and I know this, and I got to say it because you're too humble to say it, but I was about ready to quit. I was about ready to quit volleyball. I was like, this is so dumb. hate the sport, don't get it.
Right.
Because we had a bad program. I mean, we had a whack coach. I don't know what we were doing.
We were just hitting the ball against the wall.
94 degrees in there, just hotter than hell.
Right.
It was just not a great situation. I'm just like moping around, whatever, because it was new. My mom kind of like forced me into it a little bit. I was kind of debating if I wanted to play like baseball or golf. And like maybe in hindsight, it would have been really dope if I pursued golf. But I was pretty stoked on what I achieved for volleyball. But I'm missing the point here. But
I think any 30-year-old at this point thinks to themselves, "Wow, I wish I could have gone back and played golf in high school."
Of course, there's always a reminiscing thing.
I think if you talk to anyone who's 30 years old and obsessed with golf later in life, they all say, "Man, I wish I would have played high school golf. You know how much better I would be if I would have just played high school golf."
Yeah.
But yeah.
And even just enjoying like that sport. Like I think even in that time, because it was such a fun sport to play, I mean, we'd be playing that competitively, you know, you'd be getting a lot more reps and stuff. It would be like a really fun situation to go back and do that. And then then you can always like ball out when you're playing for skins and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah.
It'd be fun to keep playing and doing that. But who knows? I mean, maybe it was a good thing we didn't play and now we just have this love for it now.
Yeah, because it's not burnt out.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, what I was saying is that I was about right on the verge of quitting.
Right.
And you grabbed me under your wing. You're like, buddy.
My short wingspan.
Yeah,
threw these T-Rex arms over you.
the T-Rex wingspan right there.
You got this 6 foot wingspan.
And you're like, just wait until we play a volleyball match. Wait until we play a tournament, and you're gonna lose your mind.
Yeah, because volleyball practice sucked.
I mean, was any practice great for any sport?
No, but yeah, that's rough. But you were, at the time, really dedicated to club basketball. I was too. Really dedicated to a bunch of all-stars, club sports, and it kind of sucked the fun out of what sports was at that point. And I mean, volleyball...
It's just a go situation.
And volleyball was so new and such a the ultimate team sport. I feel
one of them for sure.
I mean, yeah, it has to me is the ultimate team sport. So? I mean, there's 6 guys on the court.
Yeah.
And everyone's a scorer. Everyone plays defense.
True.
And you're always looking.
See, I was going to make an argument for like football just because of the amount of guys just the amount of people that are on the field.
You can't name 3 linemen.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't. I mean, and defense gets shine because they make tackles. But because you're a lineman, you're in the trenches. You're not getting that same shine as you would even like a setter does.
Yeah, I mean that's true because I would definitely say we did a few years of football. You did 3 years.
I used to play younger.
Yeah, well, I'm talking like in high school too.
Oh, I just jumped on my junior year.
Yeah,
I walked on my junior year. Coach said, "You'll never play. You'll never start." I said, "That's fine. I'm just coming here for lifting." I ended up starting JV and first backup for varsity.
Yeah.
Then I quit varsity year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like it was getting really down to it. You got to put in the hours and all that. You're like, I'm already doing basketball and volleyball.
And in football, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a good point. Like, because we definitely were into the football mix of team sports. And I just thought maybe because there was a lot of players out in the field that was probably because it would be more of a team sport. But like, yeah, it's very segmented. It's very like wide receivers,
right?
DBs.
Even like in pros, they don't talk with each other.
Yeah,
like you don't. Defense and offense don't game plan.
Yeah, and they're all looking at their like Windows tablet now. And
in basketball, there's not 5. There's hardly ever 5 scorers on the court. You got defensive people. You are working together as a team in that way. Volleyball. Every single person on that court has to play defense.
Yeah.
Every single person on this court is a scoring threat besides the defensive libero. But that's like, even them, they could.
Yeah, and it's also just really fun. There's like time, because of the way the game's set up, there's time to celebrate and like prepare for the next point. Like the amount of cheering and like the amount of like rowdy stuff that we would do at tournaments in between points.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's a cool way. So I think that was what really like kind of set our like friendship in that way. And then obviously, of course, you have the video games and the Call of Duty and the amount of search and destroy matches we were just running train on.
I mean, it was a typical high school bromance that bloomed into a full full bromance as adulthood as you moved to Long Beach for D1 volley, and I followed you a year up after, and we lived with each other for 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years, and not just like living in the same house, sharing the same room.
4.5. I mean, you could basically count my freshman year as like a half year because you were up there every other weekend, sleeping on the dorm room floor.
Wow. Yeah.
How legendary was that? So we'll call it 4.5. But after that, it was, move in,
share a bedroom with each other for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Not like,
money was tight. Money was tight.
You have this room, I got this room.
The matching bunk beds were really cute. That was a really nice touch.
No, they weren't stacked. We removed them because we're adults, of course. But I mean, sharing a room, like reaching over.
Yeah.
And like touching you, basically. Yeah. That's how tight these rooms. I mean, our first apartment rent was $250 a person.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It must have been $50. Nice. Can you imagine if we had that now? I mean, that's basically free rent.
It doesn't get cheaper.
Yeah. I think it was like $280 or what. I mean, whatever. At that point, it was under $300. It was crazy.
It was all in Long Beach. It was some of the best moments of my life for sure. And then there was a summer where I think our golf obsession really took off.
Yeah, for sure.
If people are new into golf and don't know what golf was like pre-COVID, even like maybe a year or two before that, there was no one on the course.
It was glorious.
I hardly played golf back then. But there was, when we were in college.
I mean, why would you? You had the TaylorMade bubble shaft driver.
Yeah, I had no clubs. No clubs, no golf swing. And we would go out. First summer, I think we played every week, maybe once or twice.
Yeah, there was a summer we played, I would say on average, 1.5 to 2 times.
And we played we played 18 holes at Skylinks. We would set a tee time up for 3:30 or 4.
Yeah.
We'd get there at 1, and we'd be like, can we get out? And they're like, of course.
Yeah, there's no problem. There's no one here.
Go ahead. It was $20, $15 at points for us to go play a
that
full
was like
18.
walking, and I think cart like included everything was like $32, $35. Like,
yeah, and it was Skylinks was awesome. It was a super fun course.
Still one of my top tracks. If we like want to get into like some of the ranking of golf courses eventually, I would still put it up there because of that sentimental value. But I do think it's a good track. But because of how much it means to the both of us.
It's super quirky as well. Like you got planes flying over the whole time,
and they're never like industrial massive planes either. They're like, because it's Long Beach Airport is in the backyard of that place. You get kind of those like fun little 2-seater, 8-seater like planes. If you
play
like
the tracks in Long Beach, do yourself a favor and go play Skylinks and go play Eldo. I personally am more of a Skylinks guy.
You can definitely skip out on Big Wreck.
Yeah, you don't need to play Big Wreck. That one's rough.
Eldo and Skylinks, though, solid, really solid.
And you basically beat my ass for a whole summer of golf.
I've never eaten so much free Little Caesars in my entire life. Yeah, that's when
the Hot and Ready's came out. And you were clearly a better golfer than I was, and you offered me strokes. And for people who don't know, that means giving me a leg up against Andrew. And it would be like he gets,
it's just kind of leveling the playing field just a little bit more.
Right,
like,
which is amazing about golf is you can play with anybody and still have a competition about it.
I think truly that's one of the coolest things about golf.
Right, like I can play Tiger Woods. Sure, he's going to give me 2 pupps on each hole. Yeah. But we could still go out and slap it around.
I mean, we can't go out there and play against, some of the better like college basketball players if we wanted to. I mean,
they can't handicap themselves.
Waxed,
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, that goes with any other sport pretty much, unless like unless we're going against something that's not that great in a sport, but like still, I mean, that's the best thing. You can go against a really top collegiate player.
Right.
And he's down to like a +4.
Right.
And then it incrementally gives you more strokes around that. So I think that's one of the coolest things. But yeah, I offered you strokes.
Never gave them. I never took them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Never took them because I wanted to beat you straight up. And I don't
Always
think I beat you straight up ever once that summer.
Okay, I was going to say.
That summer. And for years following, I've never beaten you straight up until recently.
Yeah, this past weekend.
I finally...
Not that weekend prior.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I finally beat you.
It's not like I played bad.
No, you shot an 84.
Not like I played terrible.
No, I came out and shot an 83. I played... Really solid.
Really solid.
Yeah. and won about $130 at our men's club, which, I mean, I just had the past weekend. I just played in another men's club event. We are, for people who don't know, are in multiple men's clubs. I am. You're in one, possibly two at some point. And basically the idea is you get to play in these golf tournaments in a couple in a month, and there's chances of winning money. And the events change and vary per golf tournament. Mm-hmm. But you play against, a group of guys, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, but there's not a lot of young guys on these things.
Yeah, that always really seems to blow my mind. And I thought there's an occasional guy in around our age, but more so in the later 30s, I would say. It just kind of blows my mind why people are not, of players our age going and playing in these, semi-competitive tournaments in men's clubs. It's fun because you get different kinds of formats. There's, you get closest to the pin, and there's net skins, gross skins.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of money on the line. Plus, you're also you get to kind of play with a group of people. You're competing, and you also get prime time tee times on the weekend, which are super hard to come by.
Right now, it's impossible.
Where we're at, it's tough.
It's you have to plan out 2 weeks in advance to legitimately have a shot at playing on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we had to secure some tee times a month out in advance to get the times we wanted because we're going and doing the Ryder Cup in a couple weeks here.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of crazy. So, it's definitely one of those things that is a benefit, and I don't know why more people aren't doing it. It's just fun. It's just a fun way to compete a little bit and get the competitive juices going.
I think people think you're playing with. You got to play against your buddy. You're not going to be able to play with your buddy. We play with each other every time.
But at that point, you're also playing against the field and the golf course.
Right. So you're in a different bracket than I am. So you're playing against better players, and I'm playing against my flight of players. So technically, if you make a birdie putt, you're not really taking money from me.
True. We are separated.
And if I take a birdie putt from you, I'm not really taking money from you. And if I win the tournament on my end, you can still win the tournament on your end.
That's kind of fun.
It's super fun that way.
I didn't actually put two and two together.
Right.
There.
And even if you are playing with your buddy, it doesn't feel like your buddy's robbing the tournament from you because you still can get second and win money. There's ways of getting skins or pins, like Andrew was saying,
and the likelihood of us two birding the same hole, being in the same flight, it's
pretty low.
It's slim.
Yeah,
I would say we're averaging 2 birdies around.
Right.
Max.
So I ended up winning that tournament, and so I won. I think $100.
I thought it was 90 for the actual tournament,
right?
Which covers your tee time,
right,
or more.
It covers my
85, tee time was 60, right, or 65, right. And then you get skins. Pins on both and pins,
right? And then I want a skin for another $30 on hole 18 with a birdie.
You walked away with $140.
Yeah,
and
that's cash.
And then cash walking out the door.
Free round of golf plus 30 on top of it.
You got paid to go play golf,
which is it's just so attractive for people who are into it. It also makes you so much better of a golfer. I mean,
1,000%, dude.
You're having to putt everything out.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting over there, you're like, oh, your buddy gives you these 2 footers, but they're really downhill, and you're kind of nervous because it's for a birdie or it's for a double, and your knees are kind of knocking. You're gonna yank those. You're gonna yank those a lot. And
I went into my first tournament. We can remember this one clear as day because it was right after COVID, actually.
Yeah.
And this is when all the putting greens were shut down.
Right.
So we couldn't get any. We didn't even know what a putting mat was at the time.
No.
Talk about one of the greatest investments that you can make as a golfer for yourself. Go get yourself a putting mat.
Yeah, the perfect stroke, I think is what it's called.
It is the best tool. If my putting ever feels like I'm leaving myself, I spend 3 minutes on that thing, and it's right back.
Yeah, it's not that you're like, wow, I'm feeling like I'm reading greens better, or I'm doing this. What it's teaching you how to do is line the putt up and hit it center. And you're able to square it up. And then you can test your distance from anywhere from 2 feet to 12 or something.
Yeah. It's a good little tool, but that first tournament was rough because I put it to 20 feet on one of the greens. Mm-hmm. And I proceeded to 4-putt. Yeah, I've never felt like that before because that was the first actual competition that we've ever played in. and you're not allowed to pick up your golf ball.
No, you're not. You're not able to go. You can now. We know that you just basically ride an 8. But at that point, you're kind of discouraged in doing that. People don't really like when you just say, all right, I'm good. Because really in golf and handicap, you can't do worse than double bogey,
right?
I think.
Right.
So even if you are out of the hole, you should play it out still, just for score's sake and all that stuff. But yeah, it's, we became better golfers pretty fast because it's pretty embarrassing when you're like, shaking the ball all over the place. You're not keeping it in the middle you're not keeping it in the places you should be. You're in the cabbage. You're, doing left
it's tough.
and right.
Yeah. And like in the cabbage mentally too. Like I'm just like
you're in the rough there.
Yeah.
I
was rattled, dude, because I put it to 20 feet, missed my putt. Like it wasn't terrible. Put it to like 4 feet, missed that one, 3 feet past.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, got to make this one. Missed that one.
Right.
And you're like, oh my. And then I'm again 3 feet away because like I'm confident that I should be able to make a 3-footer after just missing another 3 or 4 footer.
Right.
Missed that one. And I'm just putting it around like just an idiot around the green.
Right.
And it dawned on me at one moment where I actually thought to just, if I'm going to miss it within tap-in distance. I mean, like, talk about a lack of confidence and like almost embarrassment, like.
Yeah, it wakes you up pretty fast.
Yeah, I was really nervous.
Well, because you have these old guys walking up and tapping in like 4-footers.
Because
like
they've been doing it for years.
Right. And
it's no big
as
deal to
somebody
them.
who's not used to doing that, why am I struggling with this 4-footer? When these guys are walking up and hitting it between their legs and going around the back.
Yeah, it's crazy. They just get so confident with it.
It's pretty insane. But
definitely makes us better golfers, more confident, better decision making for sure.
Right.
I mean, let's talk about some of your game that you make the biggest gains. It's definitely your like decision making and like, not plotting it around the golf course, but just knowing where the trouble is and having a clear idea of where you want to hit the golf ball.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest, because my swing has gotten obviously better.
Way better. I mean, you wouldn't be shooting, sub 90 if your swing has gotten better.
But the real change is learning how to score.
Yeah.
Learning that you need to be below the hole. Learning that you can't miss at a certain spot.
Yeah.
And I think if you are an avid golfer and you're looking to make new friends, or you want to win some extra cash, or you want to be a little bit more competitive with golf, you gotta join a men's club.
Yeah, have to.
And there's a bunch of men's clubs listed on the SCGA.
They're not expensive. They're like, I would say almost to a certain degree, they're cheaper than actually just playing the casual weekend warrior round, because you have the opportunity to get money back. And like we said, we're in a tournament we paid $85 for, and that's including the skins and the tee time. And then you just have to buy the cart, and you're just looking at whatever, like around like $100.
Right. And
there's tee times, where we're at, always around like 120, 125, 150. 175.
And those are dog trucks in the morning.
They're like not great, but they're just you can just charge that much money because you're going out on the weekend.
Right, and in the morning we're getting out at 7, 8, 9, 10, and it plays pretty decently fast because the guys ahead of you can somewhat play golf.
Yeah.
You do get hung up, and
a little bit, but at the same time, though, you can never really lose your focus.
Right.
So you can never really just knock it on the green, knock it up there. I'm 5 feet away, whatever. I'm in for a 6 already. It's like, well, not really. Like you got to take your time. Every stroke kind of matters, kind of thing. Because eventually you do have like the net scoring you could potentially win as well. So like for a tournament that you're in, so like every stroke does matter to a certain degree. So
yeah, and even score doesn't truly matter, because if you blew it and you're out of let's say you go double, you're out. You're out of the tournament. You're not going to win it. Well, it doesn't matter, because now you can go for skins. You're like, I could turn this around on one hole and I win money.
Yeah,
and you put a little together, and it also shows you in golf
that it's kind of always the game could be always there. Yeah,
next shot.
Yes, of course.
And that's also a great lesson for life. It's never what was happening or what did happen to you. It's what you make best with your next opportunity. And I think that's what's amazing about golf, and about being in the cabbage is those hero shots. Even if you are in the shit, you are a classic hero shot guy. There's no gap. You gotta use some stupid club you never hit with. You gotta hit like a draw, low stinger, and do these things. And you're no business of hitting those shots, and you do, and it's from the cabbage. There's not a better feeling in golf.
Yeah,
true. I mean, there's truly a rescue shot that works out the way you drew it up from a bad lie in the stuff is
because now you're basically saving par at that point.
Right.
If
now
you hit a good recovery shot, then you're like on or like right around the green.
You're looking for good stuff. And sometimes the best shot is just taking your medicine. Another lesson for life is sometimes being in a bad lie, you can't force it. You can't fight your way out of it in that sort of way. You can't, the options aren't there. And sometimes you need to make the correct lateral move to progress.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I think
you said it really well. You know, it really kind of coincides a little bit. Yes, everyone talks about how great golf is, but I think it really does kind of, you know, it goes hand in hand with life lessons and trying to like keep pushing forward or keep finding ways to maybe like make better of a situation. So I think that's really a good takeaway as well. I do want to talk about, because we talk about competitive golf. Mm-hmm. And I know that, you know, is this our third year for the men's club? This is our third year, right? Because COVID?
Yeah.
Third year.
Yeah, third year.
So we're starting our third season, but this is our first season for doing like a team event against other clubs, which is kind of cool.
So we got asked to be a part of,
which was really cool, because we played actually like our first year playing in the men's club was, I mean, there's no sugarcoating this. It was awful. Like it was really golfers.
Bad. We won nobody.
Our handicaps went up. Never really won any cash, any skins.
Right.
Our putting was not good enough. To do anything really relevant.
Right.
You know, you can't like better your lie. Like you can't like, you know, if you're like truly like in a bad situation, you can't like home me up, like give yourself like 5 feet, give yourself a little window. Like there's no
wiggle room.
Yeah, there's none.
There's no like, oh, I hit that one out on my first hole, let me get a breakfast ball.
Right. There's none of that. So it's just it was really tough. It was really, you know, I guess, but there was a lot of room for improvement is what I'm trying to get at though. And we made just that. It was really fun. We kind of dedicated ourselves a little bit more, like getting a putting mat and all that kind of stuff. And we had a better second year, and it was really fun. We basically capped it off. Just the cherry on top, we both won. I mean, it was B and C flight of our men's league, but it was the club championship, a 2-day tournament, which was really awesome. So I think that's why we kind of sort of got like recognition or like an invite to the team event.
I won C net, meaning with my handicap, with my strokes won that, and you won B gross, which means you beat everyone straight up. No pops for anyone that flight. You were the best golfer in the B flight, straight up.
I played out of my mind, and it was really fun. I mean, I was peaking. I was peaking on that.
Saturday round?
Yeah, I shot 80 on Saturday, which was great, because at the time, I was an 11 handicap. So that would be me shooting 3 under.
Yeah, unreal.
For net scoring, you know?
Unreal. Sunday was windy,
and Sunday was it was not in the best conditions as well. It was like 10, 15, 20 mile an hour winds at some point, and then I came out and shot a 74, you know, and I've broken 80 only 3 times, but those were not in competition. No. Those were like, you know, BSing around a little bit.
A 74 in competition means a lot more than a 74 BSing with your friends.
Could be 3 to 4 strokes, you know,
easily.
Could be more. I mean, it could be less. You might be, you know, be hitting the golf ball really well, but you know, you give a lot of putts when you're playing with your buddies. Yeah, you kind of like, you know,
the ball should be there,
right?
You know,
I'm in a divot in the fairway, like just move it out,
right? You
know, like that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that was really fun to kind of like put that round together and to see the growth of the golf, and the golf that didn't even seem like I was doing anything that crazy. It's just kind of there, and everything was clicking pretty well. Like I was lag putting really well, recovering really well when I did make a bad shot.
I mean, you were in the shit. You're not in the shit. You're like throwing up darts left and right. You have a huge power ball. You're driving the ball like 300 yards in the wind.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an insane advantage over these old guys who play this.
I mean, truly though, we're grabbing 9-iron and 7-iron off par threes, and they got rescue club in their hand.
Right, and that was kind of what was happening when I did the first team play event. So it was a team play match. So I played against another club's player who was similar to my handicap. I'm currently a 14. He's a 16. So I had to give him.
So I mean, a level play.
Level play. He gets 2 holes.
Yeah, essentially level play.
And I don't think I'm a 14 right now.
I feel like you're playing like a 12.
I think I'm a 12 right now.
Yeah.
And
but obviously, it's going to take a little time for that handicap to come down a little bit. Yeah.
I'm going to break 80 this weekend.
I love that.
I have a very strong feeling I'm going to go to Ukaipa.
I didn't know. Oh, you're playing Ukaipa. Got it.
League in Ukaipa, California, near Redlands. It's a really small course.
Selfishly, you can't break 80 without me, though.
Yeah, that's true. I'll have to miss a couple putts. But yeah, I played this guy, nice guy, older man. I ended up beating him by the 15th hole, but it was a blast. I never had more fun in competition where I was able to basically test myself in a one-on-one thing like that. And that's not against friends.
Match play is totally different.
Right. Totally you could blow up on an 8 and the guy gets a 9. You still win the hole.
Yeah. And so also you're playing against someone totally random. Like you said, you're not playing against buddies.
Right.
And you're also played by yourself. Like usually we're in tournaments and we're always riding in the cart together or walking together.
Right. So I had to play some old guy who brought 3 packs of Marlboro Reds with him.
That is rough.
I don't mind having a couple, Bernies out there. That's fine. Have a couple.
Have
Smoke
4
a cigar.
Have 4 cigars. Choke them down.
Whatever. 3 packs of cigarettes. What is he, John Daly?
I mean, that is just impressive.
I mean,
he's inhaling more smoke than he is pure air.
I came back smelling like I was a coal miner. And also the level of
you had the black lung when you were coming back.
Yeah, I felt like Zoolander. I got the black lung, bud.
I got the black lung.
Yeah, it was mentally draining playing with somebody.
Because you also weren't playing a 5-hour round either. You're out there. Was it 6?
6.5 hours.
Woof.
Yeah, before he teed off.
Brutal.
Yeah, before he teed off, he looked at me and he says, "Were you here last week?" And I said, "No, I missed it." And he's like, "Well, last week we played. It took us 4.5 hours to finish 9 holes. A typical golf round, you're done 4.5, 5 hours."
I mean, there's a reason why we never, ever, ever go play at Rancho San Joaquin.
It's absolute dog track. It has grass. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm being a little spoiled. It's not the worst golf course in the world, but
when we're talking just pace of play in general,
alone,
like alone, really bad. Like I don't need to play a sub 4.5 hour round. I don't need that. Let's keep it reasonable.
You tee off at 11. We didn't get back till 5:45, 6.
It's an all day. Yeah. That's a full time gig.
So when you're playing competition golf like that, you're pretty drained. By like hole 10 or 11, you're like mental starting to get shocked a bit.
Yeah.
I had to sit on my phone, look at score updates, see if the Lakers are losing again, do my normal things. But yeah, I ended up beating him about the 15th hole. Our team lost overall.
Kind of a bummer, but
right. But we also got no points last time we played.
We didn't get any points last time?
Yeah, no points.
What do you mean no points?
No one drew. We lost every single match.
What?
We lost individually every single match.
And team-wise?
And team-wise.
What is going on?
Yeah, so
they must have been sandbagging for... You know how many... Wait, isn't there like 12 pairings?
Yeah, we were 6 pairings for...
So yeah, 12, okay.
12 guys. 12, and there's, the way it works is you have a possible point for your individual match. Then your person you're riding the cart with, you get points from him as well if you two play well. And our team,
it's team best ball, right? And then it's you and the guy you're playing with, or correct. Alongside with, but he's got his own matchup. Yeah, so that's a chance for a point. You got a chance for a point.
Yeah, so I got the Orange County John Daly on my team. And so he's already out of the match. He's mentally chalked by hole 16, blows it. And So I'm dealing with all this adversity. I was happy to win some points. We barely lost. I guess we.
What'd you end up shooting that day?
87.
Not bad.
I hate Rancho. Doesn't play well to me at all.
I think an 87 there, especially because I find it very difficult to play good golf, especially when it's 10 minutes between each shot, and not like 10 minutes like walking, driving, waiting for people. I'm talking like the tee box like clearing in front of you, and then they have to like clear the fairway. Like that's the kind of like pace of play you were working with,
right? Like
that is tough.
I'm
to
pulling
get
up the
any
tee box.
sort of flow.
They're pulling away. Or
brutal.
they're in the middle of the fairway waiting for the next person. Like the first 4 holes are like the longest.
Yeah, because they're all short par 4s.
It's a par 5.
Yeah,
that's shortish.
But then it like literally all bunches up right after that.
And then you lose your golf ball left and right there all the time. And I just had and the first hole was such a bad break for me. I was mentally felt like I was, first hole I had to recheck myself.
Yeah,
I had like an 8 on the first hole. I went right.
Yeah,
almost lost the ball. I saw it bounce back in off the fairway driving range that's over there.
Yeah, but then you're battling all the golf balls, tree line, all that kind of
stuff. So I hit a provisional, which means I hit another one just in case.
Yep.
Bombed my provisional, by the way, middle of the fairway way down there.
Of course, second golfer is always a better golfer.
Right. Always trust the second one. And my ball's like sitting on a palm tree, like fern or something. So it's making the ball sit up weird. And if I move the fern, the ball will move. It's sitting on it.
Yeah.
So I can't move the fern. So I have to punch out with this thing. It rolls into a bush to the left. I have no swing again.
There's also not a lot of trees on that course, so the fact that you found a kind of a lone soul out there.
Lone tree with a palm tree frond. And then in the bush, chipped out of the bush in the middle of the fairway, hit a bad shot into the bunker. I walk up to the bunker, kind of pissed, step into a huge mud puddle. My foot is completely soaked.
That's got to be one of. I mean,
talk about real rough way.
Getting wet socks.
Yeah,
is right up there with stepping on a Lego.
Yeah,
it is infuriating.
Yeah, it was a hard way to start the hole. But I mean, knowing this guy is handicap wise worse than me, I knew I still had a shot, and I knew my distance.
And it's match play. So I'm only down 1. Yeah.
He got like and I ended up winning the next one after that.
We all know that it could definitely swing and momentum can totally change back and forth in a golf match, especially when it's match play. But I mean, that's just golf in general.
Yeah, it came back. But yeah, so that was, that's what was the weekend. I'm excited because I got a match play, or not match play. I have another tournament coming up.
What kind of, what format is it the one
regular
that you're
play.
playing? Regular play? Single?
Regular play, yep.
Single?
So
I think that's a great golf goal for you this year is breaking 80. That's for sure it. And then I think in terms of match play, team play, before we move away from that, I'm going to play in 2 of them. You're playing in 3.
I've played 1. I'm playing in 2 more.
Right. You're 3 total. I would love to win both of mine. But I mean, if I split, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go over, and I think if you go 2-1, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going 3 though. I'm not losing 1.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's the goal for sure.
I love that. I think that's the funnest way to play golf because I'm excited to do that match play because we play match play all the time.
Right.
And it does feel like you can just once you hit a good drive or once you hit a good approach shot or whatever, it just takes one good shot to kind of get you back into it and making some good swings and kind of making yourself back into it. If you blow up for a 9 and we're playing stroke play or vice versa, whatever, and it's a 4 or 5 stroke difference, it is really tough to come back from that.
Yeah, I always suggest if people are new to golf and you're wanting to play your buddy, don't play him stroke, play match.
Play match play.
Because if you're already blowing up the hole, you don't have to worry about it. Just pick it up, move it on to the next one.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to stress about your game, because obviously bad shots are going to happen, bad holes are going to happen. So it's just really easy to just reset and go to the next hole and kind of keep it light, fun, and competitive at the same time.
Yeah. And I mean, we have those tournaments to look forward to. We'll keep everybody updated. We have the season just started. We have I think we're playing maybe 3 or 4 more club tournaments, but we have the bachelor party coming up. My boy's getting married in April.
Looking forward to that.
More golf coming up in April. We'll be able to recap and tell everybody about. Maybe do a podcast out there. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We can do that for sure.
And yeah, I mean, this is going to be a theme in our podcast. Lots of golf talk, post rounds, ranking golf courses is one of our favorite things to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I mean,
I think it'd be fun because I think you are going to try to break 80 this year.
Mm-hmm. What's your goal?
Yeah, I don't know, because this kind of marks like the very beginning of the year. I would love to get to like a 5 handicap, and like I don't know if there's like a benchmark of me like breaking a score at this point. Because let's be honest, I don't like breaking par is just another beast. I mean, I broke 75 in a tournament.
Right.
I feel like that's a massive milestone.
If you can just like keep your putting where it's at and you hit a green every once in a while, you'll be fine.
My greens and reg needs to fly up. I think, yeah, maybe like eventually like just shooting level par would be sick on a course. But I would love to hit an average of like 10 greens in reg.
Right.
I feel like that would be a really good goal for me like this year, because I already drive the ball pretty well. I putt the ball pretty well. My short game's pretty good. My approach play is it's in the gutter as far as like me being a so-called 8. I don't think I'm playing like an 8 right now, but they got me at an 8, and it's my biggest downfall by far. So I think this year, like having an average of 10 greens hit in reg for the 18 holes, I feel like that would be a good benchmark to hit, because right now I think your boy's hitting like 5 or 6.
And you're by Andrew is being modest, by his driving is good. You have pro level distance.
It's just a little erratic at times.
Right.
That's the only thing. That's why I'm just gonna say it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about distance wise. If you get a hold of one, you're easily,
average 3. No, not carry, but total 315, 320 or something is like could be like an average when I'm hitting it well.
Right.
Yeah.
And that means most of these holes we're playing from whites. That's not our choice. That's the tournament that mandates that.
But I mean, no track we're playing is like over 7,000 yards.
No, so you're like,
I got driver wedge and I'm hitting 5 greens in reg.
Yeah.
Driver 9-iron. Like it's just a really big part of my game that's severely lacking. And so I feel like even if I hit 10 greens in reg one time, I don't think I've ever done that before. I feel like that, but eventually getting to that benchmark of hitting like, 8, 9, 10, and kind of just, seeing where that goes with my game a little bit from there.
Right.
I feel like that would be a good goal for me this year for sure.
Yeah. And those new wedges in your bag are going to be unreal.
I'm really interested to see how I can actually like train that a little bit and get some of that control with like 80 yards, 90, 100, and kind of like work around my game from there. If anyone cares, I did take out the 3-wood in my golf bag, which is a little bit of an interesting move, but after a much deliberation between the two of us, we just decided that it was just not the right, I was never hitting a 3-wood. I never hit the 3-wood off the tee. Not a club that I love to hit anyways. And I hit my hybrid. I can get 230 even, but it's on like a miss hit, but I can get 250 out of it. You know? Like I can get 250 out of my 3 hybrid. And that's basically like 3-wood distance. And I'm like, let's be honest, I'm not trying to hit green from 275 out. Hardly ever.
Very rarely are you like, I'm 275 out and I need to hit the green. We just don't play courses that long.
Yeah.
And if we did, like, the chances of that happening.
There's like one hole out of 7 or 8 rounds that we're playing where I'm like, ooh, I wish I had this club. So I think ultimately we made the best decision, and I'm really excited to train a little bit more into the half, 3/4 shots for 5 wedges that I have, if you want to count the pitching wedge.
Right.
So I've got a 60, 55, 50, 46, and then that goes into my second pitching wedge into my actual golf clubs, which is like a 43, but it's kind of like a player's distance iron. Right. So it plays more like a 42 degree, whatever, if you want to get all numbers with it. But looking forward to that and seeing where that kind of goes from there. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think you need to watch some Rory McIlroy to really get that feel down for those wedges.
He's really solid, dude. He's really playing some good golf right now.
It's much fun to watch him.
All team Rory.
Almost like a little bit of a comeback. He he was never like gone from golf, but he wasn't excelling.
At one point, he kind of slipped. I mean, he's an unbelievable golfer. Right. I thought he slipped to like 22 in the world or whatever. Like 18, you're like, what the heck's going on?
Rory, Rory was challenging Tiger.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, they also did play Rory and Patrick Reed. Played in the
Dubai Championship.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone heard, but there was a little drama between the two that I thought we'd mention about.
Things got a little chippy over there.
Yeah, get a little golf chippy, which is pretty pathetic. I mean, it's not like they were like throwing haymakers.
The amount of like golf drama that comes from this, it's great because you never really have any of this in golf, and the fact that like it gets this much publicity, it is fun to talk about it.
Right, and you have to mention it because it does get a little. So Patrick Reed is in a different league now called Live Golf.
Yeah.
Basically, think of it as if the NBA had players leave and create a new league full of Saudi money, which is totally fine. I mean, not fine, but it's their prerogative to move that way, and their choice. And Patrick Reed and Rory have beef because I guess Patrick Reed sued Rory McIlroy on Christmas Eve, served him papers.
Right, because he's like the spokesperson, I guess, like
of the PGA Tour and talked against about Live Golf and the people moving.
I mean, as far as taking a stance on where he wants and sees Live, it's pretty clear. There's no like wishy-washy sort of thing about it, and I love it. I mean, I do love what the Live Golf is doing to a certain extent, but not a ton. I'm all still PGA Tour all the way. For me.
I haven't watched Live. I watch highlights of Live Golf. There's some. I mean, Cam Smith used to be one of my favorite golfers to watch.
Yeah, that was a bummer. That was the only one I was truly upset about.
Cam Smith, when he left, was for sure a big hit for me because he was a lot of fun to watch. So smooth in the game. I just what I think Live Golf has done. And if you want to argue that or not, they have progressed the game for PGA Tour. They've made them become more modern, and if we can thank them for anything, that's what they did, and they succeeded.
For sure. That's exactly what I think. That's why I liked it, because the amount of like complacency that you can get on the PGA Tour, it's really easy to just fit a certain age bracket and viewership year in, year out, and just not get any involvement or like evolution or like involvement with the players or anything like that, like, and just kind of keep things, exactly the same and how it has been.
Right.
So that's why I thought it was such a cool thing that it really pushed things onwards.
Totally.
Was the coolest thing about it.
And so that was a little bit of the backstory. Is Patrick Reed did sue Rory. So I guess Patrick and Rory are playing in the same tournament. So Patrick walks up to Rory to say hi. He shakes his caddy's hand, and Rory doesn't look up at him or acknowledge him. Like, of course not. Why would you? He's suing him for
real,
for lots of money, and he served papers to him on Christmas Eve. And Patrick Reed somehow wants a handshake. And
I mean, like, what do you expect?
Oblivious, and it's such an oblivious move as a human being.
The best part about it is that Patrick Reed then goes to the media and is like all pissy.
Throws a tee at Rory.
Throwing a fit. Yeah, throws a tee at Rory, throwing a fit and saying if he wants to act like a child, right? Like he just needs to like, man up a little bit and say hi to me. And it's like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like
Rory came out looking like gold out of this. And just, again, Patrick Reed is in the cabbage. And I do not see a hero shot at all for Patrick Reed. He has a lot of making up to do.
He really does.
How
the man has fallen from greatness, truly.
Yeah, I mean, from being Captain America for the Ryder Cup to playing Rory McIlroy, I'm pretty sure he beat him. And everyone was in love with him, to becoming a full-blown cheater.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, even in the Dubai Classic, he hit it into a tree, lied to the officials, and said his golf ball was in the tree, which it clearly was not in the tree.
Yeah, replay literally has it going into another tree.
And the rules official, I guess, can't technically argue with him because it's a game of honor and trust.
Yeah. At the same time, though, there should be some sort of way to be like, hey, here's one of my other golf balls I can pull out of my golf bag.
Right. Like you got to show me the markings.
Out.
And he just confirmed that was his ball. I read some reports afterwards that apparently the refs like didn't ask him to do any of that, so it's not his job to do it. But I mean, Rory would have showed you the golf ball. Rory would have said, "That's my ball. I'll show you why." And I just don't.
And the fact that he's just blatantly lying.
Yeah, he just
and like so confidently about it too.
He just looks bad, and
like the whole moving of the sand. It's just like a bunch of stuff that is just like really compiling up. Where it's just like this man is just so deep in it. He's really making him, you know, like making a fool of himself.
Yeah, I guess like his wife and his agents all run his social, run everything for him, and are doing the lawsuits. And I guess he has no part of it. But I don't understand as a person that is in the limelight like that, how you let that happen.
How do you get that detached?
Yeah, I would never in my wildest dreams let my wife handle a lawsuit without my knowledge.
Wouldn't you want to just handle handle yourself?
Right.
Like you got to take accountability for what's going on. Like
he just seems clueless. He seems like he has no clue what's going on around him.
Really struggles with like facing adversity, and like if something goes wrong, he's just like still like acts like a child. And
he should come on this podcast. Maybe we can give him a couple pointers on how.
Nah,
he doesn't need our help. But it's so what the coolest part of this story was they end up playing together, one and two. They don't play with each other, but they're in the competition for finishing the tournament.
Yeah, not in the same group, but I mean,
correct.
Patrick Reed is one group in front of Rory,
and Rory's one spot better than Rory. He's sitting in first. Rory's sitting in second. Rory needs to go birdie on 17 and 18 to beat Patrick. And what does Rory do?
Yeah. He does exactly that. And it was the best finish to a golf tournament. I mean, talk about a weekend of some great golf that we just had.
Yeah, we're going to touch on the Max Homa win, which was huge.
I mean, it was unbelievable. I thought there was nothing better than the drama and the fact that, you know, where we see ourselves kind of backing a little bit. I mean, we're a little bit favored towards Rory, always have been. I mean, Rory is just one of the greatest dudes. Super nice, super humble.
Well-spoken.
Very well-spoken. Always knows, like, exactly what to say, and then, like, firmly puts his place in that, like, you know, he cements his feet in that stance. And, like, you know, and stands by it because he truly means it. Talk about someone that's grounded, and that's Rory.
He gives information without leaking or sounding bad. It's like it's a special skill I assume he has with media where he's able to give you intimate details without giving you intimate details.
Yeah.
It's the facial reactions, the way he answers the questions, the pauses. It's just a real talent. And it was so cool to see him win another tournament. And especially beat the guy who throws a tee at him and calls him a petulant child. Was unreal.
Yeah.
And I
love to see that.
Can't wait to see him play, hopefully soon. But the big tournament that I was watching for sure was the Max Homa win at Torrey Pines.
The dude was 5 strokes down to start the day. You know, talk about an impressive comeback right there.
Yeah.
And talk about another guy that I'm a big fan. I know you're a big fan of him. I'm talking about just a guy that just is really good at being super solid with his game, super smooth, really working on his craft, hard worker. He's also got all the intangibles too. The hair's flowing. He's got the tea company, which we have. Like those are some really cool teas that you always buy us.
They're my favorite golf tees for sure.
Super cool.
Durable, very cool designs.
And then he's also got like the Twitter account as well.
Twitter, and he's the guy. I don't know if you don't follow golf, but you might have seen him popping off on Twitter. He's the guy who like roasts people's golf swings. They ask for it though. It's not like Max goes up to like some random golfer on Twitter.
No, he's not
Twitter and like roasting him.
No,
they like, hey Max, what do you think of my swing?
Yeah,
like whatever. Quick comeback Max has for him.
It's great.
He does it.
It's great. So he's got it all. And the fact that it was it the first time the PGA Tour did a live interview during a round?
Correct. During a round.
I thought that was a total game changer for the PGA Tour, and I don't think there was any better person that could have been interviewed.
Yeah, he's also leading that charge. He's in meetings with the PGA Tour and going over with them ways of improving the connection between golfer and viewer. And I don't think there's a better idea. I think maybe if you could just mic up every caddy's bag and somehow let the caddy know in his ear, like, hey, you're hot mic'd right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the caddy and the player can have like a special signal to each other, like, hey.
That could be tough for like competition wise, but I totally see where you're going.
Yeah, you like so you hit them up, right? You hit them up on between hole 1 and 2, right? Whatever hole it's on. Maybe you want to listen to them on hole 5 or 6. The walking between 5 and 6, you hit the caddy with a mic, in the ear, or whatever on the bag. Hey, you're gonna be hot mic next hole,
and then whatever they want to talk about, they can talk about. And they can have like 1 or 2 topics queued up. Obviously, you have the commentators that are dictating the interview. Yeah, I'm
not even talking about like an interview. Just say like just hot mic in general.
I see.
Just I want to hear just the conversation between caddy and player.
Yeah, it's really fun, especially when you get JT and then Bones out there, and then you get Spieth and his caddy over there. Like those are the really fun moments where you do feel like you're part of the shot much more.
Right.
And I think they need to do more of that, but for just more players, just in general. Like you said, everyone, because I could only name 30 to 40 guys that are on the tour right now.
That's impressive. I couldn't name,
maybe 30.
I couldn't even name like 15.
So exactly to our point, though.
Right.
Like you got to be able to find some sort of connection, because there are a lot of guys that come in, and because of the FedEx ranking, everyone's competing for their tour card.
Right.
It's really competitive. It's hard to stay out there.
Yeah, it's hard to stay out there.
Top 125 in the world, like that's a good feat right there. So, there's people going in and out and getting relegated a little bit. So I think that's the coolest thing, that Max Homa was one that we got the interview. He had a massive comeback win. And you just, it's just a guy you really want to root for. So
and sorry to cut out that mid-game interview was so cool just to hear him just talk about what the shot was looking like for him. A little inside baseball. We just played this golf course for my 30th birthday, and it was
really fun.
I mean, just all time.
Really fun course, super sick.
Yeah, it was windy when we played it.
Really, because we played it first week of November.
Really windy when we played it, and it was pretty dead where they were playing.
We played, how much was that? 7,000 yards?
Yeah, we played around 7,000 yards.
And they're playing at 76. Something
yeah,
like
that. and you really have if you're into golf as much as we are, do yourself a favor and try to find a course. And if you can afford it, local to you, go play it, and you can watch on the PGA Tour. It gives you a real appreciation for what these players are doing. I mean, sometimes they were driving the ball where I'm on my second shot.
Yeah, they're crushing it down there.
Yeah, and they're talking about things you can't even imagine. And I think that's what I love about golf, is that there's just a level to it that you just don't touch.
Yeah. But it's fun, though, because you're able to play on the same course as they are.
I'm not going to Madison Square Garden and shooting free throws. Unless that's like a once.
But here's the thing, though. Here's
the
crazy part about golf, and I think this is why we like it so much. Mm-hmm. But no matter like how well like we're playing against one, and let's just say hypothetically us two are playing a match,
right?
And we're playing on a really good golf course. Yes, we're playing each other. But really, I think you're playing the golf course.
Right.
You're always trying to make the lowest score possible. And that doesn't really matter what you do that much. It's more about how you tackle the golf course.
Right. And how your game plays to this golf course.
Exactly. So I think that's what one of the coolest things about golf is that, yes, maybe in basketball, you can play in a really big, massive stadium arena, some of that sorts, but you still have a 10-foot hoop and a rim.
Right.
You know, like it's still the same. Like it never really changes. Football field, it's the players that you're playing against that change.
100 yards.
Everything is standardized in every other sport. Golf is not, and so you have all these like different factors that kind of to factor in. Essentially, you get the wind, speed of the greens, all these hazards all over the place, how you're hitting it that day, your miss, all that stuff to kind of battle. But to kind of finish up on your thought that you were talking about earlier, do yourself a favor and play a course that the PGA Tour goes out and plays on. And it gives you a pretty good perspective of what these guys are able to accomplish because they don't even have the tees that they play. They're not available.
Right. Like
you can't play those 7,600 yard tees.
Right. Let's just say it was there on their website. It says you have to prove that you can play it. I mean, you have to have like a registered handicap, and I assume you have to be below a 10.
I was going to say maybe even more.
Right. You probably have to be a 5 because these rounds aren't cheap.
Yeah, you're not going to like go out there and you're just kind of knocking it around. It's still a public track. You still need to like, for the most part, these courses that you would be able to play that the PGA Tour guys are playing.
Right.
They're a public track.
Right.
And you still need to keep up with pace of play. So if you're like knocking the ball around and you're not great and you're 15 or 20, and you're not very experienced, and then you're tackling on like a 7,700 yard golf course, it's like, what's the point? It's not even maybe fun at that point. So
yeah, and it's you want to go out there and have fun still. That's the point of it, is still have fun. And the coolest story about that weekend as well was Max, I guess, when he lives in Arizona, went and played Papago, which is a golf course we're going to be playing for your bachelor party.
Yeah.
And won the men's club and won another $600. Not only did he win like $1.8 million from Torrey Pines.
Just took other people's lunch money. He's just going over there and just bullied people.
And it's it just shows that he loves it. It's not a 9 to 5 for him like some golfers in live consider golf to be. It's a passion, and I think that's what we want to see our pro athletes have for the sport, which is of course extremely difficult.
I think you definitely want that when you're watching professionals. I feel like that really makes it fun for the viewer when they're that into the sport and it's a professional that's doing it for a living, and it's inspirational too because we're that enthusiast about it. Obviously we're not doing it as much as him, but the love and everything for the game is all there. So I think that's like one of the coolest things that to go and watch Max is because he's got those attributes, and he just loves it that much. The fact that we're going to go play Papago coming up here for the bachelor party is going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool.
I want to say Jordan Dye, but it's not the name. Pete Dye. Thank you. Pete Dye design, which is one of my favorites. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. It's going to be all time. Moving to Arizona as well, there is a Super Bowl happening here in a couple weeks. And we are a sports podcast who love all sports. I mean, I
love me some football.
Yeah, you're a big football guy.
Love me some football.
I love watching basketball and football. You love basketball. We love golf. We love watching hockey, even though we don't follow it as much.
Playoff hockey is different. Playoff hockey is great. Different, dude. Love that.
I think the one sport I'm not up to date on is baseball, but I mean, can you blame me? I mean,
we got all these other ones. I'll even throw in tennis too. We even love a little tennis match as well.
That the majors and the finals are so cool to watch. I just don't understand how people run around for that long and still can hit a ball.
It's bananas, dude. Bananas.
They're so athletic. It's
the fact that they're out there
ungodly
for 5 hours sometimes.
Ungodly how people can do that.
We just recently played in like pickup basketball matches or games. And we're playing for a 40 minutes of running clock. I'm like, I could go for another one, but like I'm pretty done.
Wiped.
I'm pretty done.
Wiped.
So the fact that they're
come home, give me an ice bath.
The fact that they're playing the best players in the entire world,
and they're moving that ball around,
dude. You're playing a tennis match as long, sometimes, or longer than a golf round.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
I mean, like talk about that in perspective. It really kind of hits home when you're talking about that.
Yeah, it's truly an amazing sport.
So it's super fun to watch that mental battle. But
predictions,
circling back around to the
Eagles,
Super Bowl here,
Chiefs. Who you got, buddy? Give me a little taste of who you think you're going with.
I mean, I love me some Andy Reid and Mahomes. I think what they're doing on offense is fantastic. I think it's very, very unique and original. And I think it's a really fun way as a viewer to watch the game because Andy Reid is such a unique coach where he'll coach to his players as opposed to trying to make his players play a certain way. And so he really highlights his athletes, really highlights the skill sets. I think that's what's really fun. And they got a pretty rock solid defense. Like I don't think they get a lot of credit, honestly. It's not amazing, but like their defensive line is solid. Like Chris Jones is playing out of his mind as a defensive tackle right now. The dude's a beast down there.
Yeah. It's
But if there's one thing that is going to slow down Chris Jones, it's the Eagles' offensive line.
Those boys move some bodies.
Yeah.
They are trucking people. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Kelsey brothers. Their New Heights podcast is one of my faves. And watching, it's given me like appreciation for the offensive line. That and Taylor Lewan from Bustin' with the Boys. I've been watching the offensive line more. My old position, my old stomping grounds was a man. I was once a man of the trenches myself.
You're down in the trenches, dude.
Yeah, was just a blast to been watching that, and I feel like the holes these men are running through.
You can drive a goddamn school bus through some of these holes, dude.
Yeah, it's untouched coming through these things is just crazy.
So I think that's a big thing with the Philly offensive line is that I think they can truly combat that defensive line. And they play a different style of football than the Chiefs do. They're a little bit more ground and pound, but also they got a run pass option. And I love Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts might be the most... hot take here, real hot take, might be the most, might go down as the best.
Like complete all around, maybe? Like QB
not
is what you're
complete
saying?
all around, but like run first quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't even classify him as a run first quarterback really, but I don't know what type of quarterback you would even call him. He's not a typical.
Yeah, he's creating.
He's not Mike Vick.
I think he's creating a new. I mean, this is Nick Sirianni putting this in.
Right.
The Eagles head coach does a great job. Again, I think they're both great coaches, so I think that's why that's such a big part of their success. But creating an offense that really highlights Jalen Hurts and the offensive unit that they have around him, they're kind of just going all RPO options, you know?
Yeah, and he's beaten Mike Vick's single season rushing record for the Eagles. And that's saying something because Mike Vick was a cheat code at one point.
Yeah, you get him on Madden and you wouldn't ever, like, you just run around in circles.
That's a run first quarterback.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, maybe like I would say Justin Fields.
Okay.
That's like a run first.
We could be talking out our ass, and I don't know much.
Tim Tebow?
Tim Tebow. No,
Tim
Tebow
run first.
Tim Tebow got a bad shake.
The dude was throwing like little floaters across the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Never had a great arm. Yeah. You're right. We're not analysts over here, but this is just a fun way to kind of discuss what we see as maybe a common viewer. But
yeah, you're gonna have to check me on these football facts, and I don't mind that. If I'm gonna make a prediction, I really do enjoy watching the Eagles. I thought they got a bad break all year. As in the idea of like no one really respecting them, even though they were at one point 11-0.
I think so.
10-0?
There's something like that, dude. Really solid.
I'm going to go with the Eagles.
You're going Eagles?
I'm going Eagles. Because I don't know if Mahomes' ankle is fully going to recover because I twisted my ankle.
Did you watch him play, though, last week?
Yeah, I did. He was hobbling around quite a bit.
Yeah, but he was still getting he was still balling. I don't think it really affected him at all.
There were some throws I saw.
He's a great enough player, I don't think, to even really have that bother him. And now he's going to you get an off week as well. So now this is 3 weeks.
Right.
After the ankle
I
injury.
just know that I twisted my ankle on a dog toy. Yeah. And it's been 2 months, and this thing still pops and hurts. every day.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how a pro football player can fix his. I mean, I get how they can, but just the idea of how quick these people recover and play on things is crazy to me.
I mean, he wasn't feeling great at all.
No, he was
still playing well. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's really a factor. I think you can just like take that out of the equation.
Wow. Great. Okay, so then you're saying he's good. So what's your guess
good.
here?
I think we got to factor this in as he's good to go. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Honestly, I thought you were going to pick the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot that points in that direction of wanting to be the Chiefs. But I think we didn't even talk about the Phillies' defense yet, though. They're like, I believe they were the third best defense in the league in terms of like points per game, yards per game, all of that factoring in. 49ers are number one. I don't know who's number two off the rip here.
Let's say
I believe Philly is number three is what they're at. And so you talk about an offense that's number 3, 4, 5 somewhere in that zone. Mm-hmm. Number 3 defense. It's really hard to pick. To pick against Philly at this point. They're so solid. So
yeah.
But I mean, just to spice it up, I'll pick the Chiefs here. I'll pick the Chiefs.
Right. And
I'll pick the Chiefs because of the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes magic. If there's anyone that's going to really score points and put some points on the board, not at will, but put 21, 24 points on the board.
Travis Kelce having a hell of a season this year.
Yeah. I mean, the dude's a beast. Can't be stopped.
Yeah.
So
just seems to find the ball.
Yeah, he's always open.
Would you rather have Gronk or Travis Kelce? Prime Gronk or prime Travis Kelce?
I'm taking Kelce.
If you talk about it
after year after year, the dude is a machine.
Yeah, I think I take prime Gronk.
He gets hurt are you taking he never gets hurt?
He never gets hurt. Just for a season, you're taking him.
Okay, and then prime Gronk, yeah.
Prime Gronk was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was
changed the position.
Unstoppable. Yeah, he was one of the first guys to really flip the role of a tight end.
Totally. And if you talk to anyone who plays that position, they all say he's goated.
Yeah.
Also,
Antonio Gates is up there too, I will have to say.
Oh, Antonio Gates with LT, that black face mask. That was my favorite Chargers teams.
Yeah.
Were
really good.
So much fun to watch.
Antonio Gates, Danny and Tomlinson over there.
There's a guy, Sean Merriman. Do you remember Sean Merriman?
Of course.
Mr. Light Switch, light switch dance. Wow, that was some good football back in the day. Also in Arizona at the same time, which is one of my favorite golf tournaments of all year, is the Waste Management Open. If you guys don't watch golf and you're thinking about watching it for the first time, do yourself a favor, turn this tournament on.
It's one of the best tournaments to watch, hands down.
Right. Hands
down.
It's a viewer-friendly tournament. There's cheering. Hole 16 is iconic.
Especially people that are in the age bracket that we're in right now.
Totally.
That want to have fun playing golf. Mm-hmm. And it really, really does truly embellish that this is just a fun golf tournament that you want to be a part of. They get the crowd going. People are
flowing.
People are lining up at 3, 4 in the morning to get inside this golf course.
Yeah, to get into hole 16 to sit there. Because it's basically like a Coliseum seating for a golf hole. And people boo you if you don't hit the green. And they celebrate you if you hit the green. And then God forbid you make a hole in one there.
The green is getting watered by brewskis.
I would understand this year if they take away throwing beer on the field, on the course, because last year people were doing chip-ins, making birdie putts, and they're throwing beers. It's too much. It's too much. It's got to be a hole-in-one.
I want to see it though.
Like a chip in from the sand. Okay, it's too much.
You think it's too much?
Too much.
If there's one time to go crazy on a golf tournament, though, this is the one. It's the one hole and you let it fly.
On a round that matters, on a big shot, sure. On a normal chip in for a man who's not making the cut till Saturday, not making the cut on Saturday is rough because you got to sit there, pick up all the beer, and everyone's doing it. But it's a tournament to watch. I'm going to throw out my predictions. 3 people who I think are to watch at this tournament. We don't know the field, but I'm just assuming who's going to be in.
Yeah,
I'm going to throw out. I'm going to say John Rahm.
I mean, how could you not go against John Rahm right now? The dude's playing out of his mind.
Right. I'm going to say John Rahm. I'm going to throw a guy who played great last year and maybe make another hot, Thigala.
Yeah, I love Sahith.
Yeah.
I think he's an unbelievable golfer. Mm-hmm. I love his action towards the ball, and but my favorite part about him is I just actually love him. He's really animated, and he's a fun guy to watch play. Came super close to winning last year, but fell a little bit short on that last hole.
Yeah.
So yeah, love that pick.
And JT, if he's in it.
He was actually surprisingly a little off of his game at Torrey. Did you watch him?
Yeah, he wasn't there. Wasn't too.
It was kind of shocking
crisp,
to see.
But I've been watching videos of him playing recently, and he's been looking great. And
he's been lighting up.
A feeling it's going to play real pure for JT out there, and he plays really well with the crowd.
Yeah,
he loves a
he
little,
does.
He loves a little heat.
He does.
He's like, he's one of Tiger's, from what I see, his best friend.
Yeah,
and if you're one of Tiger's best friends, you're gonna have to be okay with a little bit of heat.
Of course.
So who would you think? Who are your 3 people to watch?
I'm actually gonna go a completely different route, a little bit than you. I've got a couple of reaches here. Actually,
love that.
But still, players to look out for. And guys that I love their game. I think first and foremost, this is going to actually probably surprise you that I'm going to say this right now, but I got Ricky Fowler probably in top 10.
I would love to see Ricky Fowler come out and throw a round together. Can you imagine him hitting like a close one at 16?
Yeah, I mean, he's the man to do it. He's the guy that is a crowd favorite, loves a little bit of the party, has no problem playing in the limelight, and I truly think that I'm going to make a prediction here, and I will say that I think he finishes in the top 50 for the FedEx Cup.
Wow, let's put money on that.
If there is time, I think it's right now because the dude played really well, and I know that he's been working with Butch Harmon and getting his swing down right, and he's gone through a full swing change over the last 3 seasons, I believe, because he almost lost his tour card. He's only kept it because he's been exempt from a couple of his wins a few years ago.
Wow.
So he's gone through a full swing change, gone through that whole situation, and I truly think that he's in for a great year because I watched him a little bit at Torrey, and he was putting together some great shots.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch.
So that's who I got for a guy to look out for. Maybe a guy that finished in the top 5.
Wow.
Maybe a guy that gets a guy that wins. I don't know. Any of these guys I think can win.
Right.
Another guy that I love to see because I think his game is rock solid and has been for a long time, and I just don't think that he wins enough. I'm actually shocked that he doesn't win more, is Xander Schauffele.
Oh, yeah. That'd be Xander might come out and do something crazy.
So that's another guy that I love and is a prediction. Definitely a top 10 guy every single weekend if he's got his stuff.
There's a man I forgot who I love, and he fell off a little bit last year.
Who's that?
Sky Scheffler.
Yeah, I was debating between him and Rory. If Rory's in the field, I love him. I love watching him play. So obviously, I was trying to go maybe a little bit more unconventional. So let's see if Sam Burns is in the field.
Ooh.
If Sam Burns is in the field, that's another semi-reacher. But
is Sam Burns in Live now?
Oh, we got to fact check that because I don't know. I don't think he. I thought he was.
I know you're right. I think he is in the PGA Tour still.
You scared me for a little bit.
I know. Let's go with those 3. I think that's great, buddy.
So those are my 3 picks. Any of those guys in the top 10, I think that's definitely it's going to be a good payout. Maybe not Xander as much, but
yeah. I think those are great picks. And to round this off, we like to do this little segment at the end of the podcast called Featured Match. Basically, it's going to be, we're going to pick, different people, things, items, fictional characters we're going to argue each point and see who we think would win in a match play
golf event. 18 holes.
Perfect.
Let's pick the course.
Yeah. I think
Can we play Pebble for this week? Because Pebble is essentially where the oh my gosh, help me out here. The Pro-Am's going on this weekend.
Right. We can just throw out whatever course they're playing this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a match play at Pebble.
Yep. Considering the conditions on the coast,
Right. Win everything.
In February.
Right. And the two people who are going to be playing this year, or not this year, but this match are going to be Mr. Clean. Right?
Yeah, I mean, just Mr. Clean, just rock solid, man.
And the Michelin Man.
And just another beast.
Yeah.
Just another beast.
Just another heavy hitter for years to come. I'm gonna start the pitch off with Michelin Man. If we're talking about weather and reliability, because there's gonna be some weather out there, there's not a better person to go than Michelin Man. He's gonna get the job done. He's gonna get you there.
He is.
He has power, but he's also got the fundamentals and the wherewithal to stay within the lines. He's not gonna blow your hair back, but he's going to get you some distance. He's going to get you from point A to point B, and he's going to stay within the lines.
I think he can really get some serious distance out there.
Yeah, and the weather isn't going to throw him off.
One bit.
He's going to be able to trek through anything.
If there's a little bit of rain and residue in the morning,
won't matter.
That man is
strong.
Trucking right
solid
through that thing. Yeah.
And, he can get deflated. He can get hard on himself. Yeah, he can get a little hot headed as well, a little airheady.
Of course he can, because that's weather dependent. Maybe that's the only downside there,
right? But he's still going to figure it out. He's gonna give you his best effort, and when the chips are down, you can rely on this man.
He's Mr. Durable.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Durable there. And I feel like that's perfect little segue here, because you got Mr. Clean, and this is a little bit of a different situation, because if it's Mr. Clean and if it's Mr. Perfect for perfect conditions, I feel like this is not even really a close battle.
Really? You think Mr. Clean's pulling away that easily with it?
If it's nice conditions,
I mean, he's cleaning up the competition.
He's the amount of discipline that this man has.
Yeah.
Hygiene, sleep, diet, workout. He is a 63-year-old chiseled man.
We really don't know how old he is.
Who knows?
He's timeless.
He is timeless.
The bald, shiny head of that man is timeless. I mean, banger commercials, making moms at home happy as all can be.
Right. And it just looks like he just cleans the shit out of places, and he does it so well, to perfection every single time. He takes that kind of precision to the golf course.
Yeah. I can't say I have him in my cabinet.
I do.
Okay.
Funny you say that. Actually, Katie was telling me, hey, go grab a Mr. Clean magic eraser.
Wow.
And I had a magic eraser.
He has multiple aspects to his game too. He's not just one. He's not the spray guy.
Yeah,
he's
multifaceted. He's got
other
it all.
Parts of his game,
just like the Michelin Man does.
Yeah, but Michelin Man also loves a good restaurant.
He does.
The Michelin Man.
He loves to chout out a little bit,
and sometimes you got to keep
that
diet right.
Worse.
And Mr. Clean always keeps it high and tight. And
but that's okay though, because you got John Daly over there.
Yeah,
he's fine.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
I don't think
John Daly can still play golf. So can the Michelin.
But if you're talking about diet and you're talking about just straight up discipline and dedication to the craft, I think it's Mr. Clean. And I think he really kind of has that Tiger Rory mentality where like these dudes are constantly working on themselves, and working on the mental game a lot too.
I just feel like he doesn't wow me. And I think if you're talking about Tiger and Rory,
I don't blame you.
I think if you're talking about Tiger and Rory, there's some wow to their game, even though they are strong fundamentally.
You've never seen a Mr. Clean commercial and say, wow, look at that man.
I've seen Mr. Clean commercials.
You're just talking about how the household...
always spotless, but like, yeah, you cleaned a house. Like, anyone could clean a house.
I thought you were just saying that he gets up.
He does.
And you get up to see him clean things. You're like, look at this guy.
He does do a great job, but so does me. So do I on a Sunday morning.
I think we clearly know who our picks are here.
Yeah. I mean, and it is all on the hips for me as well with Mr. Clean. That man can move his hips with a broom. And for whatever reason, I always see him using a Swiffer or a broom. My pick for sure.
He's doing yoga on the side, I heard, as well.
Yeah, he's really working on his flexibility this year.
Yeah, we don't know how old he is, but damn, he's doing time. He's timeless because he's doing Pilates and yoga.
He's really working on it in all aspects of it. I'm gonna go with this match, considering the man he is or item he is. I don't know really what he is. But
Let's call him man.
I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna go Michelin Man, and I think he wins on the 17th hole.
I like the pick. It's not a bad pick. I mean, can you really go wrong with either? I mean, I feel like it's very, very equal here, and this is like it's just a fun way to debate who's going to be a better golfer,
right? And I
on
think
on this particular day.
And I think if you don't go with Michelin Man, you're probably wrong.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine because I'm going to say the exact same thing about you, and I will have to say it is a little bit of a risky pick because I know they're going to be playing at Pebble Beach,
right?
In the conditions, I know there's not going to be perfection there.
Right.
And we addressed that Mr. Clean, and we've heard from the scouts, and they said that he is not the best, adversity overcomer.
He grew up in a country club.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Of course.
He's used to pretty pristine golf courses, and Pebble is no joke, but there's weather there.
I'm hesitating to pick him now, but for that reason, because I know that it's going to be an issue.
Right. It's going to arise.
And we're going to have to see. I didn't even take a look at the forecast.
It's pretty sunny up there.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing practice rounds and stuff.
Right.
I saw it today. It looked like it was a nice condition. Saw some highlights. I'm still going Mr. Clean, though. I truly think because of his discipline and like what he's able to do on the course, decision making, his dedication, how hard he works, the core strength. I mean, the man is a razzle-dazzle machine out there, but he's not doing it in heroic fashion. He's just doing it super disciplined, hitting aggressively to a spot every single time.
And I respect that pick. I respect this matchup. What do you think he's winning on? What hole?
I think he closes up and clutches up on the 18th.
Yeah, it's a close match no matter what. So, you guys, please tweet at us who you think is going to win this match. And if you have any suggestions on some featured matches you would like to hear or see, let us know. Wow, man. What a great first episode.
What a great opening podcast right there, buddy. We really found our stride there.
Yeah,
cool.
it started rough. And that's going to happen. And just like life, sometimes you start rough and you finish strong.
I mean, it's called In The Cabbage.
In The Cabbage for a reason.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Finding our way. So
I expect us to have we're going to try to get out bi-weekly and hopefully go weekly as soon as we can figure out how that all works out. I enjoy this immensely. Thank you for doing this with us.
Yeah, buddy.
And doing it with me.
Super fun.
And
Super fun. Where can people find us? Because I know you just actually recently.
Great.
I think you recently just did something for us that was pretty cool. We just signed us up for.
So you can look us up on the internet. We're In The Cabbage, and we're being hosted by Podbean. We will have a Twitter In The Cabbage, Instagram In The Cabbage, all major social media platforms and all major listening platforms. You'll be able to find us. And, please subscribe, please listen, please download, like. Those are all things that will help us live our dream out of doing this full time. But in the meantime, we'll hopefully talk to you guys soon. And this is In The Cabbage. And just a reminder, keep swinging.